So Bela Rofe is a Berlin-based speculative artist and textile researcher working at the intersection of fashion, ecology, and material futures. She specializes in botanical dyeing, cellulosic biofabrication, including algae and SCOBY, and designing for a modern human world. Bela creates material experiences that enhance our connection to living systems. Through her interest in symbiotic skins, her current research explores how biomaterials are a starting point to influence the future of fashion, and I would say more broadly, our future.
Yes.
Bela, I leave you the word.
Thank you.
And the stage.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. Just get comfortable. So, hello. I'm Bella and I am Australian, but I live in Berlin, and I'm going to be facilitating today's workshop. As Julia already mentioned, I am a textile artist and I am a researcher as well with a background in fashion. And I collaborate a lot with the elements of nature. So I work a lot with like botanical dyes, and it's hard doing two computers at once. Botanical dyes and biofabricating with bioplastics, using algae to really bring to life new ways of seeing and feeling the world around us. I'm also really interested in this idea of symbiotic skins and how biomaterials are really the starting point to remind humans about the origin of our evolution and to influence our relationship with nature. So because materials are tangible, it's a really powerful medium to connect with other living things, and we can really begin to understand what our future might look like and also, again, what it might feel like. So I really, interact with biomaterials a lot, and one of the projects we're talking about today is Weaving Water, which is a textile artwork I made when I was at the Textile Lab Amsterdam. I really try and bring these like skins of the earth to fruition. And for this project in particular, I worked with algae bioplastic and human hair. So yes, today we're going to be looking at weaving water. And I just wanted to share this quote, which was a big inspiration behind the work. I think it nicely explains what inspired me, and I'll read it to you. Two bodies of water as different as can be, yet joined in a symbiosis so close that their union becomes a wholly new organism, one that behaves as if it were a single entity. So this really brings to life this idea of coexisting in like the fabric of life, rather than human and nature being two separate entities. So I wove together two bodies of water. So metaphorically, I was weaving together the human and the nature. And so the human element was symbolized through using human hair, and the nature element was symbolized by using algae bioplastic. And it's also a really nice example to show how textile can be used to convey a message or raise an important issue. So in this case, the urgency to reconnect with natural systems. So this is the completed woven textile. The materials I used were algae bioplastics, algae yarn. I used dried seaweeds, and I also used human hair. So this way of working also is really important for artists who want to tell stories. So I was really trying to use textile as a way to convey a message and tell a story, and rewrite our narrative about where humans are positioned in Earth. So this is some of the making process. It took about 12 months to make the entire thing. This is just a miniature version, by the way. This is not the same as this. Some making images, and this technique of weaving I really enjoyed as well, because it was the act of physically weaving together the two worlds of the human and the nature to become one. And again, it was the world of the human represented by the human hair, and the world of, this is some of the making process, the world of the water and the nature represented by the algae. So these are all the materials once they're dried and then laser cut, weaving together. I had to move from the lab to my apartment in Amsterdam because of coronavirus. So I was doing this on my living room floor. By entangling these two water-based materials, metaphorically, I wanted to create a new material ecology. So this is the sort of a new material ecology where you see this interwoven tapestry of the natural and the human, reconnected, balanced, and birthing this new fabric of life. And so I wanted to workshop weaving water today because I think it's a really lovely example of how material can be the starting point for so many things. So it can be the starting point to understand and influence our relationship with nature and more than human species. The starting point to create new tactile languages that allow us to communicate with nature through non-verbal communication, but through feeling. A starting point to feel like and bring forward a planet-centric future. So one that really, again, storytells a new narrative of humans on Earth, and one that moves away from the anthropocentric view and moves more towards becoming an ecocentric. We become more ecocentric beings. So placing the value of all living things as equal. So metaphorically, that's what I wanted to showcase in the work, and that we can really start a dialogue and a conversation between ourselves and the material, and build these new symbiotic relationships with the material. And the textile really allowed me to convey this message and reweave the lost connection between humans and nature. And I think also as artists and designers, we have a really important role to play in revisualizing the narrative of humans on Earth, one where we can coalesce and cancel into one single entity, and material really allows us to create that relationship. So I'm going to literally now talk about the two materials that I worked with. So that was more the metaphorical concept behind the work. And now I'll talk, so literally the material choices were algae and human hair. So as well as having a lot of metaphorical meaning, I did choose the materials because they both have huge opportunities against the backdrop of resource depletion. So we'll start with algae. And so aside from algae being hugely abundant in the wake of this possible resource depletion, it's also extremely wise and extremely knowledgeable. It's, I think, maybe the most primitive organism on Earth. Dates back like more than 3 billion years. So we have a lot to learn from algae. It's a cyanobacteria, photosynthetic organism, and there are red algae, brown algae, and green algae. Life as we know it on Earth cannot exist without algae because it provides almost, I think, 70% of the oxygen that we breathe. And it plays a major role in ecosystem function. It feeds other organisms, and it's the base of the food chain. So some of the physical properties of algae, it can either be soft or coarse, depending on the species. It's water resistant. It does smell compared to some other biomaterials. Algae does have a smell, and you'll be able to smell it when we work with the inks. It's very strong. It actually has a growing, I wrote it down. It's 40 times, it grows 40 times faster than root plants. So yeah, really, really strong. It's renewable, biodegradable, very malleable, very absorbent, durable, and it's detoxifying. So all very, very good positive properties. And it's being experimented with in many different industries as a bio-alternative to synthetic chemical-based materials because of these properties that we just talked about. So in fashion and textiles, it's being used as a biomaterial to replace synthetic fibers. So this is Caroline Raff's work. So she works a lot with red microalgae, and she uses the material and also the dye from the red algae to then dye these spherical algae pieces to make garments and bags from. Also, Si Tang is a designer, and she makes bags from algae. Violaine Bouette, she weaves together algae yarns to make garments. It's also used in the food industry. It's very vitamin-rich food, and it's used a lot in vegetable oils as well. Pharmaceuticals, it's used as a supplement and as a medicine. And agriculture, there's a huge amount of seaweed farming going on around the world at the moment, and there has been for a long time. And it's also used as a biofertilizer in agriculture. And also industrial applications such as biofuel, it's being researched into as well. So there's many applications of this material. And then there's also human hair. So there's, the artwork also I wanted to raise awareness about the opportunities available for using human hair as a future textile. So it's extremely abundant and very rich in protein. I think it's about 95% protein. And in the face of population increase, I think by 2050 there's going to be 2.5 billion more people on the planet, which means we're going to have a lot of human hair that we can use as a resource. So there's also waste. There's a lot of wasted human hair, and we just need to learn about, we need to have the right infrastructure to actually create systems in our societies that can divert it from landfill. So the amount of human hair wasted each year is 300,000 tons, which is equivalent to the weight of the Empire State Building. So there's a huge opportunity to be using this wasted resource in design in the future. We also need to shift our perspective of hair, because I think we all, as soon as hair leaves the body, we consider it disgusting and confronting, and we actually need to start looking at ourselves as a resource against the backdrop of collapsing ecology, because we can't keep extracting resources from the planet. So if we look at ourselves and our hair particularly as a very, very valuable resource and shift that perspective, we're going to have so much available, and we can start shifting the narrative, because we are very precious resources that we can be working with. And also local production. So human hair textile has the potential to use local production methods. So this means that all areas of production, social impact, environmental impact, it can all be regulated. So some of the physical properties of hair. So again, it's a very protein-rich fiber, approximately 95% keratin. Various textures depending on your genetics and depending on whether you've chemically treated your hair. It's water resistant. It does not smell. It's very strong, comparable to steel. Can be stretched up to 1.5 times its original length. It's renewable. It's biodegradable over a long period of time. You just have to make sure that it's in the right soil conditions. It needs to have the right fungus, the right animal manure, the right sewage sludge to be able to break down. And if it does, then it can break down within months. It's very malleable, it's very absorbent, and actually has very high oil absorption. So 1 kilogram of human hair can absorb 8 liters of oil. So it's actually really effective material for clearing oil spills. So there's a lot of research going into that too. And it's very durable and not detoxifying. So some of the applications, there are many. We just need to, again, shift our perspective of hair from something beautiful and resourceful and pretty rather than repulsive and useless. So it's, again, being used in the textiles industry. It's being experimented with by fashion designers. They're speculating with human hair about it being a future material for garment making. So this is a garment designed by Alex Bizes from the UK. Also, using human hair is not a new invention. Like, we're not inventing anything new with these materials. This has been going on for centuries. And these are actually a pair of Romanov 1700, the Romanov family, their earrings, the jewelry from their family, because hair was like symbolic of royalty. So they would use the really fine fibers to make the jewelry from. Also, in product design applications, hair is being used to make rope because it's extremely strong. So this is from a designer called San Visa from Central St. Martin's. She actually studied material futures. This is human hair accessories. So this is a studio called Studio Swine, and they actually use hair as a biocomposite, like as a stiffening agent to make these kinds of accessories. They also make really beautiful combs and brushes and furniture, and the hair acts, it's aesthetically really beautiful, but their hair also acts as a stiffener for their products. It's also got agricultural applications, so it's used as a fertilizer in parts of India for vegetable crops, and also used symbolically in art to convey messages. Like here, Alice Anderson, she uses hair to convey a message about connection and memory. So that's my presentation about the two materials. Yeah, we can have some questions, or I can like happily go and I've got a video that I'm going to play, which shows more like the material making, and so I'll play that, and then you can see the process, and then whoever feels up to coming into contact with algae and human hair, we can set up the table and we can biofabricate some materials together. So maybe I show the video, or yeah,
why not?
Okay.
So these are all materials that we have here, right, on the table?
Yep. So this is the beginning. So this is making the alginate bioplastic.
And can you tell us a bit more about how to use the calcinate?
Yes. So
Why you use those materials? So it's basically the one in these two jars here.
yes,
right?
sorry. So this right now, I'm making alginate bioplastic. So alginate is the salt extracted off the brown seaweed, and then it turns into like a sodium powder, and you combine that with, as you just saw, water and glycerin for elasticity, and then you leave it overnight to let all the bubbles aerate. And then this is the calcium chloride. So this is here. And this is a solution that you need when you're using alginate, because it's a stiffening agent or a firming agent. And because alginate bioplastic has so much water in it, that water needs to be extracted for it to become like this. See how there's like no water left in it? So you'll see when we start playing, it's very wet, and that's actually my favorite part of making the materials, when they're super raw and wet, and you can shape them how you want. And so this is the human hair. So the human hair has been collected. Oh wait, is that human hair? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so this is what we'll do. So it's combining all the ingredients. And the human hair, this has been collected all from hair salons in Berlin. Usually in the past, for this particular project, I work with only female human hair, but I've moved into working with, all biological human hair now. So this is a combination of male and female, except this one is just one girl's hair.
Wow.
Red. Yeah. And then the dyes, these dyes are natural dyes, natural inks that I made with annatto, which is a seed, and spirulina, which is a blue-green algae.
So now we're seeing what we're going to do.
So now we're seeing exactly what we're going to do in a few minutes. And so this is, once you've mixed the mixture in the bowls, you pour it out onto the casting mats, and it's very much up to you. And that's my favorite part of the process. It's whatever, intuition is your guide. Do what, just do what feels right and create what you want. And then it's all going to have the same properties at the end of the day. When they dry, they turn into bits of material like this, and then I cut them, and then I weave them, so like this. And then I coat, when I dismantle up here, I coat the whole thing in alginate bioplastic. To make it more stiff. Yeah.
Wow.
So then how long does it stay?
So a long time. So the larger version that I made for an exhibition was in 2020, and that's still being exhibited at the moment. And it's very much in good condition. It's very strong and tough, and because the hair is like a stiffening agent, it creates, I don't know if you want to feel it. It's very secure, and especially when you coat it in alginate bioplastic, it becomes even more.
It's also like a preservation. More.
Exactly, yeah. And I do coat it depending on if it's traveling. It traveled recently to Milan, so I had to do another coat because I hadn't coated it for 4 months or something. So I just do it as a binder, to secure it. But it also depends on the presentation of it. If it's on the floor, maybe you don't need to. If it's draped over something, you don't need to bind it. But if it's hanging, I think it's a good idea too. Yeah. And I also wanted to say that there are so many applications of this idea. So from the bigger, large-scale work I made, I then created a publication, which I'll introduce. It's called Weaving Water. And this is... it's all the biomaterials when they were in their process of curing. I photographed them in high resolution and put them together in a way that reflected the weave. See how the Japanese binding is quite similar to the weaving work. And so this is a biomaterial archive of all the wet materials during the making process. So I can hand that around as well.
Is it the idea to use it for fashion or for wearing?
Well, that's my next phase of exploration, to start creating wearables out of these. So that's what I'll be doing over the next 2 years. Really giving them the...
Doesn't feel comfortable.
No, not at all. But that's why it's more... it's an artwork at the moment. But then when we can bring algae closer to our everyday life, draping it over the body, feeling these skin that sustains us every day because it provides the oxygen we breathe, that's more the idea, and slowly evolving into that. So stay tuned.
And also on the future materials bag, we have a couple of designers that you mentioned today who are developing real clothing out of human hair. So it's actually something existing, just probably not widely available for the public, but it's ongoing. I think
Yeah, it's all very speculative at the moment, this world, but that's how things become. It's like we're in this stage of speculating the next paradigm shift. And as I said, artists and designers play such an important role in creating new narratives to imagine and think up, and then the scientists actually like create, you know, the right properties to create this reality, and then we're suddenly living in it. So hopefully it's not far away.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
right, to me it isn't like a leather jacket.
Yes.
I think that's one part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shall we?
To me, it looks like you're using all the strings. Have you ever done cutting it up and then mixing it, or does it then lose its strength?
What do you mean?
So I see its strength.
Yep.
The string of a hair, right?
Oh, yes,
You-
yes.
You use like the whole length, more or less.
Well,
Have you ever tried to just make it does it lose its
no. So, funnily enough, this is one of the only bioplastics I've made with the long hair. It's really hard to source a perfectly chopped piece of hair. Usually, it's little bits, actually, like little bits of hair, and that's fine, because what I do is I didn't include it in the presentation, but it's a technique called wet felting. And you know wet felting? Usually you can do it with wool or with hemp, and you get a roller, you put all the hair out and you spray it with water and soap, and then you get a roller and you roll it, like, you know, your body's on top of it, and it's a lot of weight, and so then you roll it for about 10 minutes, and then you unpeel it, and it's this flat matted hair. So that's what I would make, and then I'd pour alginate over the top of that as well, and then it becomes this really firm, secure. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to experiment with it. I'm still learning like all the ways, but it would be amazing if you could actually put it through like a weave, like or have it spun, you know, into like proper, and that's being looked into actually. Yeah. So, who wants to make? Messages through textile art, and always this, also this idea of ecofeminism, where there's suppression of the environment and also the woman in society. There's like this really interesting connection between the two. So textile becomes a way for them to explore this, suppressed like feeling like within. So maybe it's something to do with this as well.
What you're saying makes me think about this Italian craft woman,
Oh yeah,
Chiara Vigo, and I know it's a big inspiration source for you.
Yeah, so there's a woman in Sardinia who works a lot with, it's called like she calls it like sea hair. It's actually visas. Yeah, that's all. I'll make some more room. So yeah, you can wear gloves, but you also don't have to wear gloves. The reason for gloves is these are also biodegradable gloves. Yes. So they're compostable. The reason that we wear gloves is mainly in the second part, where we cast the material and then we spray it. So calcium chloride, because one of its functions is to extract all the water out of the material. It does the same on your hand. Yeah, I don't know if you know. So, I mean, I don't really use it, but I'm advised to like tell people to use it. I'll put one there and one here. So how many people?
Oh, sorry, I'm in the way. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna pass you. Okay. I didn't want to be blocking the camera or something.
So maybe we won't use that hair. So everyone can have a little bowl, and then the first step, let me just get all the ingredients. Put there. So are you all from Maastricht, or?
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
I live here.
You live here, yeah? No? Oh yeah, so Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who's gonna make the...
Oh, whoops. I'll have that one.
Go ahead, yeah?
Yeah,
More space. No, okay.
so everyone get a little spoon and a bowl. 1, 2, 3.
I will just remove this so you're a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I don't wanna master the texture.
Yeah, but then you can also, you're a bit more free.
So this you said was the salt? extracted from?
Yeah, so this is alginate. So this is the plastic. So this is like a bioplastic. So when you see something like algae bioplastic, this is what it is. And this is made, this is extracted from the cell wall of brown algae. And it's the salt, and it comes out as like a powdered sodium. It's like a white powder basically. When you mix it with water, it creates this like homogeneous paste, and then you put glycerin with it to make it elastic. So this is
used in the food industry, right?
it is exactly, it's used in the food industry. So I'm just going to put all the options in the middle. Hair, alginate here. So if you guys ever get a haircut, please contact me.
Hey, I'd be game. I'd be very game.
Okay, so we don't need that till later. So this dye actually doesn't smell very nice. It leaked all through my bag on the way here on the train. It smells really bad. Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Say it's like the ocean. You'll be good.
Maybe we won't use it. Yeah, it's got like I don't know, something like sometimes spirulina, like really green algae. It smells like pungent.
Oh yeah, it's fishy. Quite
Fishy.
intense, yeah.
So this is all our ingredients. So does someone want to, who doesn't have a bowl, because you can stand where I am. If you want to move down one.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yep, you go here. So the first stage is to pour the alginate into your bowl. So just pour like for 2 or 3 seconds. So you want to start?
Sure.
Yeah. Smell the dye.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, that's perfect.
Okay. There's something very ritualistic of pouring it out of it.
So as I said, use your intuition is your guide. Just like do what feels right. Grab anything, mix it around. You can there's like a bit of annatto dye which is here, and you can add hair and seaweeds now, and then you can add more after you cast it. So yeah, just play around.
And basically put in whatever you feel like, right?
Whatever you want, yeah.
Okay.
And you can use gloves if you don't want to touch the hair. If you feel strange about it. But I think part of the concept is becoming really comfortable with hair and finding it, because when it's on your head, it's very
It's natural.
It's natural. Beautiful. So it's like
It's sensual when it's on the head and gross when it's not.
I wonder, like, also the reaction you get when you're talking about using your hair.
Yeah.
I imagine it's also connected to the fact that it's
people
not
are
yours.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But that's kind of strange because extensions are really common.
Yeah.
And no one thinks that it's because they're really expensive.
Yeah.
So it's also not your own hair. Yeah. So
Funny idea.
perhaps if it's only used as
dye.
hair.
That is annatto dye. It's from a seed. It's like an orange natural pigment I make. Well, it's a
There's just one.
Oh yeah.
I like the little seeds.
These are like dried algae, the little...
Yeah, this is like wakame, and this is a sea lettuce, and this is Irish sea moss, and this I harvested in Australia on the beach when I was there. Yeah. Nice. And this is actually from the Netherlands. I harvested it from a beach in winter, and it like as soon as it hits water, it expands and goes into like this really nice flowy.
This is confronting me with the feel of my shower drain.
If anyone needs paper towel, there's paper towel here as well. And do you want a spoon?
Yeah, maybe that's easier, but I don't mind using my hands. But
Yes. Or does anyone have a spoon? Oh, there's a spoon here.
Yeah, I'm not really interested.
oh yeah, I'll use it.
This is seaweed?
We have one, Julia.
I'm not sure. I think. Yeah, I think it is. It is?
Yeah, this is seaweed. This is a red algae from Australia.
Gebruikt voor het vriendelijk als je bijvoorbeeld een
Yeah, we run out of space a little bit. So
This is like almost like Nourish, so yeah, like the one you make sushi with, or
yeah, so
it's almost like also plastic. Yeah?
it's a bioplastic.
It's a
yeah,
bioplastic.
And then we cast inside it. We cast human hair and algae.
How should I like the brown one?
Yeah, and then it makes it up like a big The final product is
Like that?
Like playing with things you're not supposed to be playing with.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling with
yeah,
things.
so nowadays I'm teaching
It's kind of appealing.
Ja, totdat je dit erbij doet.
And then
dan
there's a
wordt het,
miniature version of the weave over there, which these materials will.
So it's plant material on hair?
Yeah, it's all plant material and human hair. Yeah.
So basically, algae is
Because I found this washed up on the
resin,
beach, I
it's
leave the beach.
It's the glue.
Yes, but now I'm like, now I'm
Yeah, it's
the
the
flake or
fabric,
right?
the fabric, everything is and so it's the concept. It's like human and nature coming together in the one fabric.
This one is nice, yeah. Maybe not in the middle.
Is everyone finished? Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, so casting is basically you just get your spoon and you put it on the casting mat. So you just, or your fingers. I love the the finger is the spoon. It's very nice.
You have to get it out on the way how it is.
Yeah, so you just put a dollop on it. And then what I usually use is a squeegee.
Maybe upside down.
Yeah.
Sure? Yes? Yes.
How do you kind of gauge the color of the final product with this very dark kind of background?
So nice.
We have what is in the back of
Well, it depends. So usually,
I don't know.
usually you will,
Nice.
when you do dye, it will like go towards the color of the dye. Otherwise, yours is like very thick. You've all made very thick ones, which is nice.
It does work.
And yeah, it will either go towards the color of the seaweed or it will be like clear underneath if you make it thinner. So let me just grab. Usually I use a squeegee.
Ga ik zo doen.
just like these kind of stuff.
How thick or thin should it be?
So you need to leave some room. So let me I'm just documenting you.
Oh ja, sorry.
Maar nu is het gaat het niet per se de strips. Maakt een beetje rechthoekig.
Yeah, so usually I would use a squeegee, but you guys can also use your hands. It's probably easier to use your hands if it's thick. But yeah, usually as I was saying, go like this and this. And then what you do is, so that's probably good. You could start spraying yours with sodium alginate.
Do you have some more paper
Sorry,
towels
not
or else
sodium
I'll
alginate.
get your bottle all covered? Thank you.
You can also alternate do another thing. Should I make it longer?
Yeah, so maybe yours has to be like a little bit more thick. So maybe push the edges in a little bit. Yep. And then, so with the calcium chloride, it's just a matter of going like. So you need to spray quite a lot around the edges.
Okay.
And you'll be able to feel it like instantly. It's like already like gelatinizing.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is, you can use gloves with this if you want. Maybe you don't want your hands to dry out. That's up to you. I should advise that you wear gloves, but I don't. So I don't know.
I'm used to plaster,
It's
so
like,
it's...
I don't know, like it's because it extracts the moisture out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Should I make it thicker?
I would, let me see.
Because I just made it a tiny bit. Should I go more?
Maybe a tiny bit thicker, yeah.
Also middle or just
Yeah,
edges?
middle.
In terms of edges, is this okay or what?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And then maybe squeeze. Yeah.
En dan wordt hij snel.
Oh, je voelt het een beetje dat het prikkelt op je...
Yeah. So because it looks beautiful, this is my favorite part of the material process, where it's really wet. So they will dry like,
How much is them?
you know, like this.
Yeah.
So they get a bit thin. Now they lose a lot of
Ooh, it's
moisture.
already getting really cool.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah. Yeah.
Valt er wel mee. Het ziet er heel nat uit.
Makes me kind of think of Art Nouveau art, where like hair is usually almost like a vegetal motif as well, and does like connecting elements
Yeah.
with the vegetal world, flowers, plants, whatnot, and then a beautiful woman, and then her hair is sinewyingly kind of connecting both of them.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. It's like this becomes like the fabric of life, that everything exists equally within, rather than there being like a position of power or a dominant species. So this is calcium chloride, which is again like a mineral that cures and stiffens and extracts water out of things. So it's also used to make cheese stay in one shape.
And tofu, it's used for
And
tofu
tofu,
as well.
yeah. And then I can credit you when they all dry, and we can put them together in. Yeah, I can weave them into the work. Yeah. So if you want to maybe take a photo and send it to me, then I know, and with your names, and then on Instagram actually. That's really nice. Yeah.
We're gonna leave our mark.
Yeah.
Oké, perfect.
It does look like a monkfish.
Do you have Instagram? Yeah. If you go on
Quite ugly
Instagram,
fishes, so I get it.
But it's nice, it's already getting a bit like chilled. Yeah, this one is too. I think I've oversprayed it because there's so much liquid. Nice.